Witamy przyjaciół. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, we have already looked how Warsaw looked before the war in coloured footage, but now we're going to take a look at what it was like during occupation of the Nazis. This is going to be incredible to see in colour.
This is the city of Warsaw, located in the country of Poland in the year 1939.
We've seen this
This was
footage
before
already.
World War II, before Hitler and the Russians invaded, before the bombers, and before 8 out of 10 buildings were destroyed.
Now, as I said, we've seen all this footage already on previous clips that we've seen. Now, what I want to know is what it actually looked like when apparently everything was basically demolished and destroyed. So, will I still be able to recognize the places I visited when things were destroyed? That's the real question.
And then Poland was invaded.
First city to be taken, but it's followed by others. That one, a Polish town, ready for war and built a military juggernaut too great for Poland to resist. Communications blown up as the defenders impede the invasion every way they can. But the Germans, they reach Warsaw, which resists heroically. They trap huge Polish forces, forces that fight on. Destruction of a nation.
Oh. Okay, so I assume we're going to get lots of clips. That's just wreckage.
The city itself collapsed along with the rest of the country from the forces of the Nazis and the Soviets. Life in German-occupied Warsaw in 1940 was characterized by oppression, restrictions, harsh living conditions imposed by the Nazi regime. In the German occupation, following the invasion of Poland in September of 1939, Warsaw fell under German occupation. The Nazis established a brutal regime aimed to suppress Polish culture, eradicate Polish nationalism, and exploit the city's resources. The Germans intended and put in place policies to suppress Polish identity and culture. Polish institutions, including schools, cultural organizations, newspapers, were tightly controlled or outright banned.
It's interesting because I would have thought that during the occupation, before the war, in the clips you saw, it was busy. Everyone was out in the streets walking. You had the horse and carts, everything. It was so busy, and the cars. But I was assuming that during the Nazi occupation, actually, there would be less people out. People would be staying at home more or would be at work or just not out on the streets, because if they knew how bad the Nazis were, then maybe I would have thought that the fear would have kept them kind of not hiding, but out of harm's way. But that doesn't look the case.
The use of the Polish language as well was restricted, and the Germanization efforts were imposed to assimilate the Polish population. The German occupiers also implemented forced labor camps, which involved the conscription of Polish citizens for labors in factories, construction projects, or agricultural work. Many Poles were subject to grueling and often dangerous conditions. In 1940, the Nazis initiated the establishment of the Warsaw Ghetto, confining the Jewish population into a small walled-off area of the city. The conditions inside the ghetto were overcrowded with inadequate sanitation, limited food supply, and rampant disease.
You can see on my vlog on Charlie and Rob channel, when I went to Warsaw, we talked about this, about the ghetto, how hundreds of thousands of Jews and minorities were killed. Just truly atrocious. But you can see all that in the vlog, which I will try and remember to link at the end in the end screen. So take a look.
The Germans implemented also strict restrictions on the movements of the Polish population. Curfews were imposed, and travel outside the designated areas
Look at
required
that.
permits. This severely limited people's freedom, and it made it difficult to maintain connections with the outside world. The German authorities also used violence, intimidation, and repression of resistance in order to gain more control. They also carried out severe punishments, including mass executions and public hangings. The German occupation brought economic hardships to the population of Warsaw. Resources were directed toward the German war effort, resulting in the shortage of essential goods such as food, fuel, and clothing. Polish schools and universities were targeted, with Polish history culturally marginalized or eliminated altogether, leading to a significant loss of cultural and intellectual capital.
See, this image makes me sick, right? Because knowing what went on, and the Germans are there smiling, happy, and you question, now a lot of them were just doing what they're told to do, their job. But you question, do they not realize the pain and suffering that they were putting upon people? Most of them probably did. But to have two contrasts of all the suffering, death, and then the soldiers here that are happy and smiley and probably getting all of the comforts, the food and everything that the Jews would have had, it's sickening, right?
The clip you see has been colorized, upscaled, and brought into the modern world.
Makes you sick. Look at this. Okay, I don't recognize where that is. So this is the thing. Do I recognize places? Now, clearly not everything was leveled. Not everything was destroyed, because at the end of the day, the Germans were occupying it as well. So they didn't want to destroy everything. So it's just crazy to see, isn't it? Crazy to see the Nazi flags, and it's not nice. It's really not nice. Like, what are you doing? Very odd footage. Very odd footage. Just run away. Run away. It is, I stress this, it is incredible how this footage can be upscaled, it can be colorized. And as I've said already before, that this is how you keep the memory of World War II alive, and potentially World War I as well, if they can get that footage. Because people our age and children and the children of the future don't remember black and white half the time, or most of the time. So it doesn't feel real. So if you can colorize things like this, it feels more real. It feels like this actually happened. Obviously it did, but you know what I mean. Whereas if it was black and white, it's hard to imagine, isn't it? Because that's what it is. It's trying to imagine and being a part of it. But just the crazy scenes of the German occupation. And look, the smirks and smiles, and it's crazy when what they were doing to the people. I hope they lost their hats in the sea. A big gust of wind or a wave blew off their hats. That would be good. Serves them right. They must have known what they were doing was wrong, surely. But no, they didn't, did they? That's the problem. Most of them probably didn't. Just incredible, though, to see this footage in color. I stress this over and over again. It's incredible. Oh, here we go.
Side by side, we are going to see the clips from the restoration to the originals. So we can travel back in time to Poland, Warsaw, 1940.
It's just a shell. See, this is cool. This is awesome. Now, it clearly doesn't necessarily 100% accurately add the color in, because it doesn't necessarily know. It's probably going on the shades of gray. But look at the difference there. Look at the difference. You can feel the green of the bushes and, the whites of the buildings. But it's still just as busy. People going about their lives still, while buildings have been destroyed. There's rubble on the pavements, holes and ditches. They have to carry on in life, don't they? That's the sad thing. They just have to get on with things. Look at the difference there. That is awesome. But everything was still running. I don't know how. What if they had sent so many Jews, for example, and so many Poles to the ghettos and work camps and whatnot? How are things still running? Because you've just lost most of your workforce. I don't understand that, to be honest. Is that the bridge I went over to go to the Narodowe Stadion? Just crazy. And I hope people, watching this or seeing these clips appreciate what is being able to take place with this footage, that it's been colorized and made into a more impactful footage. But you see, not everything was destroyed. I said a lot has been destroyed, but I was, and it may have got worse as the years went on, but I was certainly under the impression that it was all flattened and they rebuilt everything as best they could. But not everything was flattened. That obviously, okay, that looks quite bad. That does look quite bad. Just, My question is, what were the Nazis planning on doing if they won the war? Like, what would have become of Poland? What would have become of France and these other cities and countries that they had rolled over, basically? That's the real question. But this is incredible, seeing all this footage. Like I said, it makes you sick. That the way that they smile and laugh, it is shocking. Well, we've seen plenty of footage. It is not nice. There they are, planning what they're going to do next, probably. Which bit of land they're going to flatten next. Just shocking. It is shocking. But this footage, as I keep saying, it allows for the next generation to remember. It allows the next generation to feel what it was like. This is the sort of stuff that needs to be shown in schools and pushed, not the black and white stuff, because, like I said, it's you don't connect with it. That's what you've got to do. To care about something, you've got to be able to connect with it. And I think having the coloured footage, that's what happens. That's what you do. You connect to it. And this is fantastic to have. I still want to see footage of other cities in Poland. from before the war, even during the war, in color as well, which I'm planning on doing. So stick around for that. Please like and subscribe. It will be truly appreciated. And make sure you go check out Charlie and Rob on YouTube for all our vlogs from Poland, Australia, and other places. This is humbling footage. It really, really is. Anyway, thank you so much. Do widzenia.